So, as you know, a lot of massage therapists are out of work and unable to have our massage sessions. I miss all of my clients. Hi, everyone. Um, but that doesn't mean that we can't help you, right? So today I am going to be giving you an example of what an online or virtual session with a massage therapist may or may not look like. Even for me, they may not have all of these charts here. Maybe some will, maybe some won't. But I actually had somebody reach out with a pain pattern, and I decided to go ahead and hop on because it wasn't too long after that I started experiencing a very similar pain pattern. So let's go ahead and dive in. So whenever the client had reached out to me, she had said that she is experiencing a lot of discomfort and a lot of pain down the back of the hamstring, down the calf as well. She also had mentioned stuff going on in the front of the thigh, but today we aren't going to be targeting that so much, okay? So the very interesting thing about pain is that it's non-linear, okay? So some things that we may be experiencing may actually be coming from other places. Now this field of study, this chart that I have colored out, is from Neuromuscular. So we're talking about how the nerves and the muscles and the connective tissue all begin to communicate with each other in order to tell a story about really what's going on. So as you can see, this pain pattern follows something very similar to what the client had talked about, right? Talking about this pain down the calf, down towards the center of the calf, down into the hamstrings. And the most interesting part that I had found is that the glute wasn't totally mentioned, but all of these other areas were mentioned. So again, talking about neuromuscular, looking at these pain patterns, we can see that I put just glute medius, but this is gluteus medius, okay, which is located in the glutes. This muscle, whenever it has trigger points in the muscle, it will begin to communicate with the nervous system and with the connective tissue that this is going on. All right, now think about how the nerves start to come out of the spine. Really, no nerves begin past the sacrum area. So when the nerves come down here, they begin to flow down into the leg. So if there's any sort of impingement of a nerve or any sort of muscles that begin to bundle up or begin to get those taut bands, it's going to affect the rest of the limb, because even though each muscle is individual, the whole body functions as one entire organism. So let's go ahead and talk about glute medius. The glute does a lot of things, this glute medius. Now, it does have two parts. It has a front part and it has a back part to it. So it's called the posterior part is the back part. The anterior part is going to be the front part of this muscle here, divided into two sections. Each section does something a little bit different, right? Because the fibers are going to be flowing in different ways. However, I have found most people that have problems with their glute medius, they typically are people that will sleep on their stomach and have their legs kind of in a forward direction. Also, even sitting with the legs rotated like this, is the glutes are going to be involved. So anything where you are opening up the hips, the glute is going to be active. Also, if you are standing and sending your foot backwards, the glute medius is also going to be active here as well. So, where do we go from here, right? Now that we can kind of see that the pain pattern is following this particular muscle, it's not that we don't want to massage the rest of the leg. But it is that if you are only working on the areas where you are experiencing the pain, that pain is most likely going to come back again, only because you're not targeting the actual muscle, which is up higher, that is kind of causing this pain here. So moving forward, what we're going to do is I'm going to offer a few yoga poses, a few stretches, okay, if massage therapists would offer stretches. And also, I'm also going to offer a tiny routine for partners, okay? The reason that I want to do that, number one, you're not going to be certified anything specific, and this routine is not going to be very difficult. However, touch is super, super important. The human organism really thrives with healthy forms of touch. And when you have a partner at home, and that may be whatever that is, or just somebody living in the same space with you, brother, sister, sister, you know, husband, wife, whatever it is, partner, touch can be such a beautiful way to begin to bond with each other. And when you massage, one of the first and most important things that you have to be doing is communicating. So this is going to be an awesome practice for communication. It's going to be an awesome practice for touch. And yeah, we're going to experience this together. For those of you that may not have anybody at home, that's where these yoga routines and that's where these stretches are going to be very useful for you. And then we're also going to be needing something like a tennis ball, okay? Because we will want to have something to kind of support us, because the glute is such a large muscle and it is so dense and thick. So to get into something like this, we're going to need a little bit more pressure, unless the pain is coming up to more of a surface level. Then even doing some of these poses, you may already begin to feel how much tension is actually being held in that muscle group, okay? So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that this chart helps you kind of expand your mind, expand your perspective of pain and how the body will begin to communicate to you what is going on. And remembering that sometimes pain is not directly associated with the muscle, that sometimes it is going to refer to other places because of how the nervous system communicates with the muscles. Alrighty, so I guess what I'm going to do next is start recording the yoga routine, and then we will start the partner massage routine, and it is going to cover from the lower part of the body, so from the glute all the way down. Alright, so see you guys. Alrighty everyone, so this is going to be the stretch routine that is associated with the neuromuscular pain pattern for gluteus medius, okay? So we're just going to come down seated onto the floor here, all right? Sitting right onto the sit bones. Some of us may want to go ahead and lift up some of that glute tissue so that way we're sitting on the sit bones here, all right? We're going to go ahead and extend our legs out. So warming up, we're just going to go ahead and start rocking the feet, the legs back and forth. This is a nice rocking motion. All right. If we want to place our hands behind us just to support us, that's fine. Just breathing here. Remembering that the brain is the hub where the nervous system is going to be communicating with the rest of the body. So if we can get the mind to kind of begin to relax, the rest of the nervous system and the muscle tissue and everything else is going to begin to respond to that. Okay, so just gently rocking back and forth here. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to first warm up the glutes. Now there are a lot of different ways that you can begin to do this. You can do this by physical activity. So if you want to like jump around, get the body all nice and warm from the inside out, that's going to be great. So you know, that's an opportunity for you to go ahead and pause the video, or if you're just kind of watching it in order to do some jumping jacks, you know, even if you just want to focus on the glutes, coming into tabletop here, okay, coming into tabletop, coming into all fours, kind of doing these little donkey kicks, all right, that's going to warm up the glute, that's going to kind of make the glute begin to pump, all right, to contract. So you can do that. Otherwise, to begin to get the muscle to kind of soften from the outside inward, what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and hug one of the knees into the chest. You're welcome to hug both knees into the chest if you have good balance. Otherwise, we can just work one side at a time. So hugging the one knee into the chest, I'm going to turn slightly sideways here so you can kind of see what's going on. And what we're going to do is we're going just to begin rocking on that glute, okay? I myself can already feel some tension, a little bit of soreness in here. Now, whenever I first started doing this, right, I had that pain pattern, and I was not identifying the pain up into the glute. And when I started doing this, I was like, ooh, now that I'm here, you know, I can see that I am experiencing some tension up in here. So going ahead, and we're just going to rock. If you need to put your hand behind you, that's fine. You can kind of begin to, let me scoot over so you can see it a little, begin to rock a little bit further back. Okay. Again, hugging that knee up into the chest, just rocking back and forth. We don't have to be moving very fast, okay? We do want to be breathing in and out here. Remembering that that glute medius comes from the middle of the muscle and over towards the hips. So you can even start to come over onto the sides here a little bit. So that way we're getting into the hip. Inhaling and exhaling. Getting all that crunchy stuff out. We want to start this way because we want to warm the muscle up. Okay, we don't want to just start with a tennis ball underneath. That can be very shocking to the muscle and very uncomfortable. Okay, there are ways to handle the situation with ease and comfort, not putting ourselves through more pain in order to relieve pain. It's not always necessary. So again, just rocking back and forth here. We're going to be here for a few more breaths. If you find a spot that you really like, you can kind of isolate it or pause. Rock a little, like, rock back and forth on that one spot. Or again, just pausing, holding, making sure that we're breathing here. Now, we don't want to be holding tension in other places of the body. If the shoulder starts to get sore, if the other leg starts to get sore, go ahead and taking a break, all right? Otherwise, making any adjustments that we may need to in order to feel a little bit more comfortable. So now that we've gotten the tissue to soften up a little bit, what we're going to do is we're going to work with just a couple of stretches. So we're going to come into crisscross applesauce. All right, we're going to take the leg that we had been working on, which for me was my left leg. All right, and we're going to plant this foot in front of the other, in front of the right leg for me. From here, we're going to take the hand and begin to try to pull the knee, twisting back. Some of you may feel this. Now for me, and for some other people in the population, you may have enough flexibility to where this isn't really getting into the glute. But for the others, just pulling this. Pulling the knee in or towards the opposite side, twisting the spine towards the left for me, the same side as the pain. Making sure that we're breathing here. We're going to hold this for 3, 2, and now I can begin to feel it just now as the layers begin to slowly let go. And 1. So remembering that sometimes it may take time, and it's okay to hold a stretch for a little bit longer if you don't feel it immediately, okay? So from here, we can, some of you are very familiar with pigeon pose. That is not a beginner pose whatsoever, so I'm not going to suggest it. However, there are modifications for pigeon, and the first modification that we are going to do is going to be in a seated position. So if we come up into a chair or onto the couch, what we're going to do is, again, I'm still working with the same leg, the left leg. I'm going to bring that into a nice 4 position here, okay? We want our spine to be natural, okay? The natural spine is curved, so we don't want a straight spine. We want a nice natural spine here. Sitting up nice and tall, rolling the shoulders back and down. We're going to take a nice inhale here. We can exhale and begin to bend at the hip. I can feel this stretch right into the glute area there. Again, I'm not rounding out through the upper part of the back. I'm just bending here at the hip. Taking a nice breath. Evelyn has joined me here. Breathing. You know, and remembering, this is a very interesting time, okay? So this isn't going to be that beautiful yoga, spa, studio experience. But that doesn't mean that we still can't take care of our bodies, okay? And go through these stretches here. We're going to be here just for 3 more breaths. 2 and 1. And again, very slowly, very consciously, mindfully coming back up through the hips here. All right, so that's going to be a stretch for the glutes as well. Now, thinking about this, there is a restorative posture. Now, in yoga, a restorative posture is a posture that we're going to hold for a much longer period of time. So anywhere between 5 to 15 minutes, and it could even go longer if you feel comfortable enough. But the fascia, or the connective tissue that actually wraps around each muscle, if you hold a stretch, will begin to stretch out and release within about 30 seconds. Now, we're not talking about a full muscle release, right? But it is going to begin to slowly pull apart. And now this is where restorative postures are going to be great. So if we were to be in a restorative posture, we're going to do the exact same figure that we did when we were seated. So we're going to be up against a wall, okay, lying with our backs down. The one foot is going to be, both feet are going to be up against the wall like this. We're going to take the one leg and have it in this posture with the foot up against the wall, okay? And you can stay here for about 5 minutes, up to 15 minutes, just hanging out like this. I know some people like to press down onto the knee here. Just be careful, please. I'm recording here. Please be careful. Pushing the knee down can sometimes increase that stretch. It's not necessary, but it is an option for you, okay? Taking those nice deep breaths. For some people, if we don't have a wall, this is my pretend wall that I'm working with, you can go ahead, take the one hand, place it in this little hole that is made, take the other hand wrapping it around, and we can pull this in towards the chest. This is a really wonderful stretch here. Breathing deeply. So this is a modified version of pigeon. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. 2 and 1. So we're going to unclasp the hands here and slowly bringing the feet down to the floor. Okay. So this is what that is what the stretches are going to be. Very simple, extremely effective. Now in terms, I just kind of want to touch the point of heating up the tissue. E, can you close that door, please? Door? Yes, please. Thank you. Ways to heat up the tissue, right? We can do it through movement. I always recommend, for people that really don't want to go through too much movement but are really experiencing some discomfort, taking a nice hot shower, taking a nice hot bath, okay? That's going to heat up the body very nicely. And then once you get out of the bath, to kind of go through this little stretching routine. It's kind of like a sped up quick. I don't want to use the word lazy, but It is a much simpler way to kind of get the body heated up and then going through a nice stretch and then being able to lay down for bed, right? Or to just relax, whatever it is you want to do. So, now that we kind of have things heated up and stretched out, this is where the tennis ball is going to come in. All right. So, with the tennis ball, you would place it right under the glute. All right. And it can potentially be a lot of pressure. Without a doubt, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being unbearable pain, we want the pressure to be between like a 5 and a 7. Okay, we don't want anything that is going to shock the nervous system and may potentially want the muscle to kind of seize up to protect itself. We want it to be between a 5 and a 7. So we would go ahead, place the tennis ball under the glute, and we would kind of do that rocking motion that we have done. Again, keeping in mind that glute medius is from about the center of the muscle of the glute group coming down over into the hips. So we would rock back and forth. My experience is just by doing this alone, I have not really had to use a tennis ball. The tennis ball for me, for my body, tends to take it past a point of 7. It begins to take it towards like an 8 or a 9, which again is very unnecessary and sometimes will kind of is counterproductive, if I'm being honest. Okay, so that is an option for you as well. So now that we have kind of gone through some of these stretches, let's go ahead and dive into, if you have somebody at home that is willing to bond and willing to have a little fun with you, we can go ahead and begin to tackle how to work the whole limb with somebody helping you with this pain. All right, so again, thank you so much. Leave a comment below if you try this out, if you think it's useful, and let's go ahead and continue on with the lesson. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. All right, everyone. So this is my partner here, and she is lying on her belly, and we are going to do this routine for her left side because that is the side that seems to be bothering her the most. So if you want to go ahead and set the scene, you know, you can turn on some nice relaxing music. There's plenty of options on YouTube. Otherwise, I can already hear some partners being like, just get to it. So, but come on, let's have a little fun. You know, we're learning something new, and that's always exciting. So before we get started, we want to make sure that we have open communication with our partner, okay? So we want to make sure that nothing goes over that 5 to 7 range, okay? So again, we're working with a 1 to 10 scale, 1 being basically no pressure, 10 being way like excruciating pressure. And if it goes beyond that, please let me know. Keep communication open if it feels great, if it doesn't, and we're just going to keep moving forward here. So we're going to work with just a couple of different techniques. We're going to work with rocking, we're going to work with tapotement, we're going to work with compression, and then on the glute medius, we're going to work with some forearm holds. Okay, so we're not going to be using the point of the elbow. That is an extremely hard surface. We're going to be working with the flat part of the forearm here. So we're going to kind of do the same thing that we did with the yoga. We want to warm up the tissue first, get some connection. So we can go ahead, kind of meet our partner here. Just kind of feel what's going on. Just kind of feel their body, all right? Connection is important with this. I want you, if you are the one that is working on the partner, also remembering that if it's hard, it's a bone, all right? Get off of it. That's not what we are working on. We want to work with the muscle tissue only, all right? So, you know, you can just say, hi, how you doing? I'm here. And this alone for your partner is just gonna be like very nurturing, very, very connecting, okay? We don't want to be, yeah, whatever. Even though sometimes We will take whatever touch we can get. All right. Let's just kind of, as the practitioner, let's like feel what's going on. It's really amazing whenever you bring your attention, how you can start to feel things. Okay. So with the rocking, it's going to be something like this. So you can see the client's body is kind of rocking back and forth here. Okay. You can do this on the thigh. Now think about playing around too. Okay. You can do it up towards the pelvis. And what's really neat is that each body has its own rock. So if you just kind of push, the body will bounce back, will rock back towards you. So if you can, working with the natural rhythm of the body here, okay? So rocking back and forth. Also, what might be nice is most massage therapists will put something under the client's feet to kind of prop that up. That's going to relieve some of the tension on the hamstrings, okay? And thus releasing some of that tension on the lower back here. So now that we've done a little bit of rocking, warmed up the body, greeted the body, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna work with something called compression. Now, with the lower leg, rather than doing the compression, which is going to be placing the hand on the tissue and just putting a little bit of pressure here, rocking, compressing down. If any of us have had any sort of injury, we can remember that one of the healing processes is ice, which is icing, compression, and elevation. So when you compress something, you're just putting some pressure on it, okay? We want to do the compression working up the body, all right? I personally don't prefer compression on the lower leg. So for the lower leg, what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna wrap my arms around the tissue and I'm gonna squeeze, kind of lifting it up like this, doing like a jellyfish motion, okay? Grabbing it, we can start down from the bottom, squeezing it up, doing it nice and rhythmically here. Imagine that this is your body, okay? Just like, somebody did this to me. Yum. Okay. This is another way to kind of, pardon me, heat up the tissue, connect. And so if we were going to do this in a little routine, we would want to start at the bottom of the leg, okay? So we're going to 1, 2, 3, 4, coming back down. 1, 2, 3, 4, coming back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. We never want to put any pressure on the joint here. So once we start moving up towards the leg, we want to skip over the back of the knee. Then we're just going to place our hands. And if we're on our knees, we can just begin to rock back and forth. Now, if I go to the side, it's going to look exactly the same. Rocking back and forth. We, as the practitioner, should not be feeling any sort of pain in the wrist. So being mindful of that. 2, 3, 4, coming up to the base of the glute here. Coming back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming back down. One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, if this position is uncomfortable being on the knees, you can always prop one knee up so that way we're kind of in a kneeling posture. And again, coming down. This is also going to add a little bit more weight here, okay? We want to make sure that we're not hunching over, that we are not uncomfortable. We want to make sure that our chest is lifted up here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now when we get to the glute, remember the glute it's thicker than the calf. It's much thicker than the calf. It's much thicker than the thigh here. So for here, I suggest going ahead and making a fist. So on this side, we're going to do this nice little twisting motion. Like this, okay? So we're going to go ahead and right in the center of the muscle, begin to do that twisting motion as we come down, twisting and coming up. Now, one of the very first things I said is that I do not want to be pushing on anything hard. If I do that, I have made contact with a bone. That's not what we're working on here. We're working with the muscle tissue. So the sacrum is right in the center of the body, okay? So it's going to be located right here. You can feel it. It's very hard. We're going to be working on either side of the sacrum. Again, taking that fist, using that compression, twisting that. Now, if you want to go a little focused, right, you want to surprise your partner a little bit here, what you want to do is you'll want to place your palm on the sacrum so that way you can feel it. And then make your fist and pull that muscle tissue off of the sacrum, away from it, pulling it away, pulling it away. Again, doing that nice twist. The same goes for the upper part of the hips, right? It can feel a little bony. Once you start to get up too high, you're going to feel the height of the hip. Pulling that down. We don't want to get, and I'll show you on this side since it's a little easier. Pulling it down and twisting. Down and twisting. Down and twisting, okay? Pulling it down. Again, coming over to the sacrum. I like just kind of reaching this here, okay? Now coming over to the side of the body, the femur is going to connect over here on the side, so I can feel the femur right over here. All right. Again, we can push up off of the femur. Okay. So pushing up and doing that nice twist up off of the femur. Ugh. I got a nice so I know I'm doing something right. Okay. So once we do this, you know, kind of just getting in there, the glute is thicker. We can use both hands if we'd like. Get a little fancy. And again, just checking with our partner. How is this for you?
Great.
It's great. Good.
Don't have to stop.
Alrighty, so from here, what we're gonna do is we have done some rocking, some compression, and now we're gonna go straight to that deportment. On the lower part of the leg, I do not suggest flat hands. That feels like slapping. I would do a cupping motion or go straight to the sides of the hands with nice fluid wrists. We're not chopping, okay? All right, this is not comfortable for anybody. We are not doing hibachi over here, all right? Let's go ahead, have nice loose hands. Just begin getting a nice little rhythm here. All right, or we can do the cupping, which is gonna make this kind of sound. If you want to do something fancy, you can kind of put the hands together, do a little of this, and your fingers slap off each other to make that sound, that clapping sound. Okay. Doing some deportment here. Again, nice soft hands and wrists. We don't want this. This can feel very invasive on the body. It's kind of rough. All right, we're still warming up the tissue. We're still just kind of loosening it up. Now, once we start getting up towards the thigh, this is a little bit thicker, so we can start to make fists if we would like. Again, we can do the soft hands. We can do the fists. We want it to be rhythmic. Up and down, maybe going into the inner part of the thigh. Definitely remembering how that glute medius, the referral pain starts to begin to touch the IT band, all right? So the outer part of the thigh. So I'm just showing you here. I'm gonna begin doing this over here. I'm gonna adjust my body because my body says so. Just because I'm giving a massage doesn't mean that I need to feel like I need one as I'm giving it, okay? It's nice deportment here. Going up into the glute again. Sticking with the fists up here. Mainly because the glute is just so thick. With 2 C's for some of us, okay? Going ahead, getting right in here. Again, staying away from that sacrum. Do not go in too far towards the center of the glutes, all right? Also coming into the side a little bit, right where that hip bone attaches. That glute starts from the center of the glute and comes over to the hip, okay? Over to the femur. So staying here for a little bit. Okay. Now, because this whole thing was about the glute medius, this is where we begin working on that targeted area specifically, okay? And we're going to begin working with the flat, again, the flat of the forearm, not the point of the elbow. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead, we're going to just kind of place the forearm right in the glute like this. Do a little bit of that rocking motion. Now, let's pause for a second. Most of us are beginners at this, so let's just take the flat of the forearm and just place it on the glute. We don't need to lean into any weight into it, okay? That's not what we're doing. We're just meeting the body. Okay? And then if you're ready, you can start to rock with that forearm. Rock back and forth. If you're paying attention with your forearm, you may begin to feel that some of the parts feel a little bit more firm than others. Typically, that's going to be the piriformis, which we did not talk about today, or the glute medius. So again, just placing that flat of the forearm right in the center of the glute, gently rocking back and forth. So from here, we're going to bring the foot up towards us, and we're just gently going to begin to bring it forward and back. And if you pay attention, you'll feel that muscle start to do exactly what it does. Tell the client to breathe. So if you're receiving this work, making sure that you're staying connected with the breath. This is no different than yoga, okay? The brain is connected to the nervous system, connected to everything else in the body. All right, this is your body that you are in charge of. If you want to kind of go through a circular motion here, you can. Communicate with your partner if that spot feels okay. Okay, again, not working with the point of the elbow, working with the forearm. We also want to be mindful of the knee here. Some people's knees do not have a lot of flexibility in them. So we're not forcing the client's leg over. We're just allowing it to just rock back and forth gently. All right. So for me, I don't feel like that's super effective. If you do not feel comfortable doing it, don't do it. Put the foot back down. Just bring the forearm back. So I'm going to use my right hand because that is my dominant hand. And I'm going to go ahead just placing my forearm on the glute first, meeting the body. And then I'm going to go ahead and start making little circles here. Feel this in here? Do you want me to stay here?
Maybe towards you a little more.
Towards me a little more? So this is the kind of communication that we want to be having with our partners. How is this for you? Okay, is this where this pain is for you? Would you like me to go a little deeper, add a little more pressure, or would you like me to back off? So my partner has said that she would like for it to come, that I'm a little bit too far towards the middle, and to come a little bit more toward me. How about this? Yeah? And I can feel that taut band under the flat of my forearm. Again, I'm not using the point of my elbow. I'm just using the flat. And I can feel that in there. And I'm just gently running that forearm back and forth over that band. Sometimes you can do nice circular motions that will feel really nice. Or you can just kind of hold. Sometimes I like to rock a little faster. really, this is a kind of session that you can have with a massage therapist too. If you have somebody at your home that's willing to participate, you know, we can direct people on what to say. As long as you and your partner have open communication and trust, it's a wonderful, wonderful way to bond. Wonderful way to nurture each other. How is that? Good. Do you need anything different? A little more pressure? Right here? Great. And so my partner had asked for a little more pressure. I'm just going to hang out here. I'm not going to do any movement, and I'm going to ask them to breathe. Okay, so she's doing these really beautiful deep breaths and communicating with her own body. Hey, do you feel that? Do you notice where somebody's placing some pressure? Let's begin to go ahead and let this go. And you as the partner that's doing the practice, right? The partner that is playing my role, is just gonna hang out. Just chill. Ain't no rush. And if you are paying attention, you're gonna feel some really interesting things happen. I can feel her muscle kind of begin to spasm against me, like it's trying to fight me a little bit. And then I could feel it let go, which is really neat. How are we doing?
Really good.
Good. Now we don't want to be hanging out here too long, all right? We don't want to be here for like an hour. I don't even want to be here for more than really a minute or two, all right? Not even that. Just a little while. We're going to take some of that pressure off, okay? That should be enough for now. The partner can begin to do some stretches. So now that we have done that, okay, I'm just kind of taking my fingertips and just feeling where that femur is attaches to the pelvis, all right? I'm feeling where that femur is. I'm not on it. I'm right off of it. And I'm just kind of using my fingertips to go around it, which can feel really nice. All right. And again, take your time. You know, I've been just rocking back and forth. 1, 2, 1, 2. Circling up, circling down, circling up. So I'm going to do this on this side. And it's nice because here I can just like push my body weight forward, right? Just putting my fingers right where they need to be. And again, not moving too fast. And then moving my fingers down slightly. Going through this lovely motion here. Down and up and down. So now we're going to go ahead and go back to that tapotement. We're going to go backwards here, okay? So the tapotement, getting those nice fists, nice rhythmic thing going on here. Taking that down into the thigh, or the inner thigh and the outer thigh. Skipping over the back of the knee. Cupping shapes, and then taking those nice soft wrists here. I'm gonna go up the body, up, 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 up into the glute. Okay, and then we're gonna do those compressions. So with the lower leg, again, those nice jellyfish motions. This is called a petrissage and massage. I really love a good petrissage on the calf. So jellyfish, we always want to move up towards. So remembering that we were doing the 1, 2, 3, 4, coming back down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming up here to the body. Again, I'm going to turn my body this way because it's a little easier for me. Working with the compression on the back of the leg. Rocking myself. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do it one more time here. 2, 3, 4. Finishing out with that fist, right? That turns. Looks like this. Into the glute here. Pulling the glute off of the sacrum, just kind of pulling towards me. And then pulling down towards the feet. And then pulling up. Pushing it away from me. And I got a nice, this is a nice one here. Okay, then we're gonna end the same way we started. Some rocking. Feeling the rhythm of our body's partner, of our partner's body as it rocks here. Very nice. We can even rock the lower part of the leg. Okay, and then ending it, we can kind of do some nice brushing strokes. Getting all of that extra stuff off. Sweeping it off. And there we go. So that is going to be the partner routine for the lower part of the leg. Again, it's super simple. Main points. If you are on something hard, you're on a bone, get off of it. That's point 2. The first point is communication, communication, communication. Things should not be going past a 7. Keep it within the range on a scale of 1 to 10, between 5 and 7. Okay? Always. Make sure that you're asking the partner, is this okay? Now, the partner that is on the floor, again, this is a practice. Communication can sometimes be challenging. For some of us, it's not. Okay? Let's just be honest. Let's just be real. For some of us, it's not hard. For some of us, it is. Communicate with your partner. That's a little too much. All right, back off. One time I was just like, oh my God, get off. That's a form of communication. But keeping that communication nice and open, staying off of hard things, staying away from bones, staying away from the back of the knee. All right? Is there anything else you can think of?
Making it even. Like do the other side.
And, of course, we only did one side here. Make sure that you do the other side as well. I mean, the body functions as one whole organism, so definitely be kind, work on the other side, make sure you're saving up enough energy to work on the other side. We did a little bit of this routine earlier, and so just kind of do the same thing. Again, rocking, compression, tapotement, the glute medius work, back to tapotement, back to compression, and then ending off with some nice rocking. So thank you all. I hope that this was helpful, and refer to the first part of the video where we were talking about this specific muscle, which is glute medius, which is creating referral pain in the glute, down the back of the hamstrings, down the IT band or the outside of the leg. Sometimes hits right dead center in the calf, which can be super uncomfortable, and down the outside of the lower leg as well. All right, so peace and gratitude, everyone. Continue to stay well. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, and know that massage therapists can still provide you with the tools that you need to get the pain relief that you really deserve. And it is not going to be what you're used to, but hey, it's okay. It's always fun to try something new. And so hope you guys have a great rest of your day. You are so loved. You are so worthy. You are more than enough. So yeah, namaste.